Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhakta priyachati. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that if you offer me with love and devotion, a simple fruit, a flower, a leaf, any of these articles, just start offering something, offer love. Have you seen God? And my question would be, have you chosen to see God? Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he said something powerful in Germany in the 1970s. He was giving a seminar of the society, stood up and he said, Swamiji, your society, your spirituality cannot survive here. He said, you can be Krishna conscious in suit and tie. In the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Japite Japite Korile Pagal, that by chanting and chanting, I become mad in love.
So what is your why?
It's my life, I want it to be, I don't know if it will fully be, but I want it to be an offering to my Lord that says, I tried to love you. Like I said, in the first 20 years of your life, you care so damn much what people think about you. In the second 20 years of your life, I don't care what you think. And in the last years of your life, you realize no one was thinking about you anyway. Who is Radhika Das? The label I like to place myself as is Gopi Brittu Kamalayur Dasta Sanudasta. Beyond all these roles, servant of the Supreme.
When you think of Bhakti, when you think of Kirtan, according to you, is the role of the act to go deeper with God, to become one with God, like Mirabai? Or is it to find oneself and almost create your distinct identity and become comfortable with who you are?
Great question. I would answer by quoting that we are one and different. Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita as meaning that we are one with divinity in quality, but in quantity we are completely different. And in that relationship with Bhakti, the idea is that there is a lover and a beloved. Just like how in the material world relationships, you can love yourself and be one with yourself, but there is also a completeness that comes by being in a beautifully loving relationship with your partner, with your children. And so in that regard, it's, yes, oneness in quality. We want to try and become Satchid Ananda. We want to try and become knowledgeable, truthful, eternal, loving beings, but at the same time be distinctly understanding that all of that comes from a supreme, a person who I want to fall in love with.
And as you go on that journey,
does that make sense, by the way?
Yeah,
kinda. We're going to explore it.
we're gonna get somewhat into that, and so that was my next question.
Cool.
How do you as you start that journey, and you've been through that journey for a while, and you've spoken about how the journey started with heartbreak. So I contend around the time that you had the heartbreak, being a Manchester United fan wouldn't have helped.
Oh, you've done your research.
Because I went through some of the same heartbreaks.
Okay, cool.
Watching football.
Yeah.
But as you kind of go through that journey, how do you differentiate between those types of love? And so when you discuss a love of a child is different from the love of a spouse or a girlfriend. And I think most of us don't really get to experience that love that comes through faith and or blind faith, depending on where you are. So how do you differentiate the love that gets you to divinity versus the hormonal love or the love that comes from relationships?
It's a valid point, because we learn so many things at school. We learn geography and mathematics and physics, and I actually even had to learn Latin at school at one point. Don't remember a single thing from it, but there you go. We learn so many things at school, but where do we learn how to love? We're left to watch and observe our parents or go through heartbreak. There's no lessons on love. I mean, I remember watching programs like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
I remember watching Saved by the Bell. In London, we had this TV show, Hollyoaks, in Australia. My manager's from Australia. He watched probably Home and Away. And so we're left to kind of figure it out. Love is such a interesting, complex, beautiful thing. And when it comes to love in relationships of this world, we kind of copycat what other people are doing. There's no book on love. Well, there are several, but you know, it's you're kind of left to figure it out. And so when it comes to love of the supreme or love of the divine, that is such a topic that's unknown nowadays, because people think of religion and spirituality as an austerity or a deepening of self, but they don't really consider that this is actually a loving journey. And that's what kind of really attracted me. See, I wasn't born like this. For me, it was a path where I fell in love with it because of the stories and because of the relationships that Krishna has with his devotees, and because of the experiences of seeing saintly people chanting with love. And so through that association, through reading, through hearing, through chanting, that's really developed or developing this loving feeling towards the Supreme, who I'm still getting to know, but I can feel that is moving the chess pieces of my life.
You know, coming back to the first question.
Yeah.
And you said something very interesting, which is that the Supreme is moving the chess pieces of your life.
Yeah.
Did that happen because you started the journey? Or did that happen and that's why you started the journey?
I think it's happening even if you don't know it.
Correct.
Because I'm a big believer that it's not why God is this happening to me. It's what is this trying to teach me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think even if you're not an avid believer in God or you're not a spiritual practitioner, then I still think God is kind and loving towards us, but maybe not in the ways that we want, but maybe in the ways that we need.
And I think as we kind of go through the conversation,
Yeah.
I think there's that's a very tough question for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's
hard to swallow when you're going through something,
to
right?
wrap their minds around,
Yeah.
especially when a lot of the people, I find it funny. There's generally people ask successful people how they got successful.
Yeah.
And they'll, say something. And there's a ton of people who've tried that and it hasn't worked. And in my journey during the ups and downs, I always felt like, I follow your heart is great advice from the people for who it worked for.
Right.
But there's a ton of people
It's not
for
one
whom
size
it
fits
did.
all.
Yeah,
right?
There's not a ton of people for, there's a lot of people for whom it didn't work. Right.
Right.
But as you've kind of been on your journey, it has given you access to so many people.
Yeah.
You see the videos on Instagram, you kind of, we're here. Have you found someone, or do you think that this kind of love, this bhakti, is for everybody? Is there a mindset of people for whom this may not be their path to their ultimate finding of themselves?
I think it is for everyone, but whether everyone wants it is a different thing. It's like, if you really wanted, you could learn how to be the best computer programmer. All the information's out there. All the access is out there. But whether you choose to take that path, that's on you. And so in the same way, I think that these kind of things of spirituality, bhakti, devotion, a search for the Supreme, I think it's fair to say, my opinion, that it's a choice. It's fully a choice. It's like, have you seen God? And my question would be, have you chosen to see God? Because if we understand that divinity is omnipresent, omnibenevolent, all loving, all present, all knowing, but haven't chosen to even consider that with the perspective of maybe, or to search a little bit. If you're already closed off to the idea, then bhakti won't be for you.
What is then in that context bhakti?
It's a choice to love, a choice to fall in love and remain in love through service and action.
As you go through bhakti in the format that you have chosen to.
Yeah. Chanting. Yeah.
When I grew up, and it wasn't specifically taught to me, but it was just, you look and you learn, right?
Yeah.
Because in many ways, bhakti isn't something that we learn in school either. So you look at your parents, you look at, the people that you look up to. You look at people, at least for me, the people that when I spoke to them, I got peace.
Role models.
Role models.
Yeah.
But I picked my role models of bhakti almost from the people that I felt were at peace, or that when I spoke to them, I got peace.
Yeah.
And I said,
yeah,
whatever
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing,
They
that
know the way, they go the way, and they show the way.
yeah, that
Yeah.
seems to be correct.
Yeah.
So a lot of the bhakti that I started when I was growing up and sort of now revolves around silence.
Silence.
Silence and solitude in meditation, and silence in meditation. Speak less, hear more. Almost an austere form of bhakti. And so, Kirtan places such an emphasis on sound and on the joyfulness of sound. So, I have a couple of thoughts that I would love to hear from you on that, which is, in your mind, what is the power of that sound, and why does it have power, and why is it such an effective way to reach the divine?
Well, I think first I'd like to caveat with Instagram shows you 1 minute, but bhakti for me is not just in the sound, it's in the silence too. And what do I mean by that? I think that it's an internal consciousness, and that can be awakened through silence. In bygone ages, for example, in Satya Yuga, Dwarpa Yuga, there were practices that were done in silence. But the reason why sound is so important in this age is because people are just so sprayed with their attention. Like I can see in the background, the team, they're very attentive in one sense, and others on their phone and doing business. Or it's so hard to focus, to be present with the moment. And it's not just here, it's outside as well. Everyone's running around trying to chase their dreams. Now, in a world which is filled with chaos, it's understood that in this Kali Yuga, which is quarrel and hypocrisy filled. Quarrel means everyone's arguing. I see arguments flaring in all parts of the world, division on all parts. And hypocrisy means when you say one thing and you do another. You don't mean what you say, and you don't say what you mean. Because of these two qualities of quarrel and hypocrisy, sound has the ability to capture the mind like nothing else. Kaler dosha nidei rajan ashtihi eko mahant guna kirtanate bhakrishnasya mukta sangha paramrajit. The Srimad Bhagavatam, I did that show. The Srimad Bhagavatam, it tells us in the 10th canto that in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is one mahant guna, there's one good quality. Among all the bad qualities, there's one good quality, and that is kirtanate bhakrishnasya, the glorification, the audible glorification of God. It captures your mind, it captures the heart. And if I'm honest, it wasn't like that always for me. And it isn't always now like that. But if I can sit in a place and, or even on the go, I have my clicker with me always in my pocket, chant, 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 sing, sing, sing. It almost creates a playlist for my soul.
And to that extent, and you touched on some of the aspects of hypocrisy and chanting, and sort of how that the world views in many ways religion itself. When you were starting off, did you have those doubts when you met gurus, when you met
I still have those doubts.
And how do you kind of create that for yourself, right? How does belief flow first in your own work, and then therefore in the people that chant with you and along with you?
Yeah, hypocrisy among religion and spiritual communities is a big topic, and I think I'm going to try my best to avoid criticizing and creating too much controversy here. But I think that we definitely need to get rid of blind faith. What does that mean? It means following based on generational, traditional values and finding who is God for me. And searching and discernment among spiritual teachers is so important. It's like there's no use just following a guru because he's got millions of followers on Instagram. I'm not saying don't follow. I'm saying don't just blindly follow because everyone else is following. Because we've seen that go wrong many a time, where you get millions of followers and all of a sudden goes and sleeps with one of his disciples, goes and does something that's completely controversial. And so I'm a little bit disenchanted by the notion that you can be only spiritual wearing robes. And my grandfather teacher, my grandfather guru, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he said something powerful in Germany in the 1970s. He was giving a seminar, and one of the German elite of the society stood up and he said, Swamiji, your society, your spirituality cannot survive here. It's like taking a crocodile and putting it in the River Rhine. The River Rhine is a cold body of water in Germany. It cannot survive. And Prabhupada responded, he said, and this, even to this moment when I hear it, it like brings goosebumps. He said, you can be Krishna conscious in suit and tie. And when I heard that, I was like, damn, that's profound. Because we are so convinced that externals equals internals. That you dress with a suit, $1 million suit, and you're somebody. You drive $1 million car, and you're somebody. You dress in robes, and you've attained enlightenment. And that is almost a trick of illusion. The magic trick of illusion.
Yeah.
And so I'm disenchanted by it, and I'm really interested in the character of teachers and what they do behind closed doors, and how many hours they spend outside of in front of a microphone practicing what they preach. And so when I did find that, my guru is not a famous guru in one sense, like he's not like millions of followers and whatnot. But I think that it's so important that we use this word discernment, which is to really analyze and really search for bona fide teachers, teachers that really know what they're talking about, that are deeply practicing what they talk about, and not just preachers. So there's a little bit about the hypocrisy of religion. Yeah, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, I'd love to get your take, because you're also someone that thinks in a similar way, I think.
I think the teachers versus preachers argument is interesting. I think the first thing, and it's funny because, I've always felt like it's such a difficult, it's a tightrope, because you're asking people to follow, and you're asking them to be smart enough to figure it out while they're doing it. And even Lord Krishna himself couldn't convince some of his cousins that he was God.
There you go.
And so that's a very tough, and I'm Jain, even Lord Mahavir. So the history is littered with what we know now.
Yeah.
Right? Lord Ram himself had to go for Vanvas. So from his own family.
Right.
Right. So that's such a difficult moment. And unless you let your guard down, you can't reach some of these places.
I agree.
With any teacher, even if it is just learning English.
I agree. See, there's a difference there between discernment and immediate criticism.
Yeah.
So I think discernment is a little bit more like, I'm going to hear you out. I'm going to see if any of this lines up with my experience of the worldview. And I'm going to take my time with it. I'm not going to jump all or nothing. Which I think a lot of religion followers and spiritualists are accused of, which is he's left everything and he's jumped in full face. Which I think that now people are smart enough. You've got ChatGPT, people are a lot more informed. People are really reading what's going on. People are intuitively, they can tell. When you're a cheater, you can kind of intuitively tell.
So, I've had different experiences.
Yeah, here we go.
We're talking about TV shows, and there's a really cool one that I grew up watching, which is an English show called Hustle.
Oh, yeah. I remember Hustle.
Yeah.
That was a great TV program.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about a con is that you can't tell till the very end.
Right.
And I think all of us have so much to do, that the sunk cost fallacy, both in faith and in business, exists.
Yeah.
And so I think oftentimes, to put it differently, I don't think everybody has the instinct that they need.
That's granted.
And so what happens is, I think you enter things, and cults are like this, right? You kind of enter, it sounds innocent, it sounds fine. And then by the time you get out, you're kind of sucked in, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the same with friendships.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's times where, you should get out of this friendship. So it's not just at a high level, it's, at various levels all the time, marriages, friendships, cults. I think the basis of that for humans is a need for connection.
Yeah. It's also to avoid becoming cynical. Like, I'm into being discerning.
Yeah.
So you use your mind, analytical mind, to see, is this spiritual tradition offering the essence, love of God, love of others? Use your discernment to find a bona fide teacher and a bona fide community, and then the strength to not be cynical, which means, when you first join a spiritual tradition, you're like, everything's roses.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, everyone's a pure devotee, especially for me, because I wasn't born in India. So when I first came across spiritual traditions, some people are spiritual, some people are not spiritual. So these select people are, and then after some time you go, no one is spiritual, but I am. You'll see in a spiritual society, for example, that, initially when you join, it's all roses, and then, everyone's a pure devotee. Especially for me, who wasn't born in India, I had to discover, and when I did discover a spiritual group or a religious group, I was like, wow, everyone's a pure devotee. The guys in saffron, they're really pure. And then some time goes on, and then you start being cynical and saying, no, these guys are really pure, these guys are not. We need to set a differentiation here. And then time goes further, and then you start going, no one's really that pure.
Yeah.
But I'm pure. And so to avoid becoming cynical while still remaining discerning, it's a tightrope, like you said. It's like, it's not just now I'm all in. You're always going to be a little bit wary and, okay, where do I place my faith? But placing faith still, I think, should happen.
I think for a lot of people, it's the up and down of it, which is that I think people start positive and then they have experiences and then they say, okay, this faith didn't work for me, but this did or that did. And that's when that's when the wrong intent or the person with the wrong intent would use that sort of bottom in your life to take advantage.
But another thing that just came to mind while you were speaking, though, is that it's not that I am thinking there's one way. There's an analogy that while you were speaking, it came to mind. If you have water running underground, and I tell you, here's a shovel, dig there, there's water there. Right there, just dig there, there's nowhere else, just there. And you start digging, and you get bored. So you take your shovel, and you start digging over here. And you dig, and the walls are starting to get damp.
Yeah.
You can feel there's moisture in the air. We're like, I don't know, pick up your shovel and start digging over there. The idea is that I think as human beings, because of the dopamine hit culture that we live in, people are looking, I want it now.
Yeah.
Like if I want faith, give it to me now, or it's not happening. And so I think the same water lies underneath. Like between me and you, I'm pretty sure we have different ideologies on who and what God is.
Sure.
But does that mean that when we meet our maker, they're going to go, sorry, you got it wrong?
Yeah.
I think an all-loving God is going to say, you tried your best, and you tried to reach the truth, and you tried to love, and you tried to serve in this world. So, okay, fine, you were part of a different tradition. No problem. I still love you, my child. And so I think that this is something that we need to also understand, that we may discern, but then not to then judge others as well, like in another tradition.
Yeah.
To see them also like, okay, they found their way, and it's the same water that's underneath.
It is, and it's, I think in many ways, the intent should be that people look for water.
Yeah.
In that analogy, more than worry about where the stream kind of flows in from.
Yeah.
And I think that's the tough one. I think you're right. There is so much to get distracted from.
Oh yeah.
But in my mind, that has kind of helped a lot of people come back towards looking, in our analogy, looking for that water.
Yeah.
Because I think people tend to understand now the kind of emptiness of the calories.
People have recognized that this material world isn't our permanent address.
At least enough people have.
Enough people. If you've been around enough people who are successful, if you've been around enough people who have satisfied and squeezed the lemon dry, you'll realize that actually what most people are chasing for is to fill something much deeper than a material void. They're looking to fill a God-shaped hole in the heart.
Yeah, and in so many ways, I think the timing of when you look is really kind of key.
Yeah.
So I've always found, and I would love to get to know how you sort of started that process of discernment, and how you get to the point where you felt like this is, and how, for example, would you have someone discern you?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, valid.
when that time comes, or when they're kind of becoming a part of the culture that you're creating.
Yeah.
How did you kind of go about that?
I think I had to spend a lot of time going back and forth. So when I first came across this, I liked it. I really liked it, but I was worried what the outside world was going to think of me. You know, when you're young, you're really concerned about that. And then you get older, and then you realize, you know, I don't really care what people think. And then you get even older, and then you realize no one was thinking about you anyway. So initially, I really cared what people thought. And so it really pushed me between two worlds. Like, I remember going for Kirtan on a Friday night, and then straight after the Kirtan finished, I'd be in Fabric in London. I think the club's now closed, but that club used to be open till 4 in the morning, and I was hitting it hard. So I was torn between these two worlds. But I think I was one of those fellas that I squeezed the lemon dry. I kind of got to a point where I was like, is this all we're going to do? Like, drink, because I want to forget this world. I want to forget my pain, and I want to forget my stress. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, any intelligent person, in my opinion, sees that what you're doing is literally poisoning the body. So that was my opinion. So I was like, okay, look, I'm done with this. I'm going to try and go full in on the spiritual. I'm going to go and spend time with the Hare Krishna. So I spent time with them, and I wasn't convinced that this singing and dancing was going to do it. But I think that what happened for me was an undeniable experience wherein you feel the presence of God, and then you just, it's like once you taste chocolate, you can't go back. You know, you can give me vanilla ice cream. I just want that chocolate. And so it's a taste thing. It was that I'm following my taste. And so the things that don't align for me, I stay well clear of. I can't say what, but there are things in my life that I just don't want to be a part of, even institutionally, from an external point of view. But I'm following my taste. And my taste is I like chanting, and I like the music. So that was discernment for me. And then when it comes to others discerning Radhika Das, I would say that know that I, from my own mouth, will say I'm a flawed individual. I'm not perfect by any means, but the process and the practice and the essence of the spirituality which I follow, I feel is very, in fact, it's immutable. It's perfect.
And then that practice, that is then perfect, is obviously being practiced by people that are not. Because none of us are. To your mind, we've kind of just touched upon this, but this is a question I have for myself still, and I have all the time, so I'm going to take this time to ask you, right? What is the goal, the ultimate goal of that practice? What does being one with the divine actually mean? Because I don't know if we found too many people here that can even describe the experience, much less have done it themselves.
I would say, in the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Japite Japite Korile Pagal, that by chanting and chanting, I become mad in love. I think that we live in a rather insane world. And I think the one feeling that we as human beings collectively are searching for is to love and to be loved. Mother Teresa said that you know, every human being is searching to love and to be loved. We do what we do, yes, to accumulate and to grow, but if there's no one to enjoy it with, there's no one to share it with, it becomes hard to constantly push ourselves to strive. And I've only really understood that when I've had kids. You have kids?
I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Wow. So I'm somewhere in between. My eldest is 5. My youngest is 2. And when I get to share the fruits of my labor with them, it's the best, isn't it? It's like you can say to them, okay, we're going on holiday.
Yeah, I think we're both in for an interesting next 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Because from, you know,
teenage years are coming.
I have friends that that the kids are slightly older.
Yeah.
I think this is a great age because I think they don't know enough to know their parents' flaws. And I think, you know, we're maybe digressing a little bit,
Yeah,
but
sure.
since you brought that up, I find that a fascinating challenge. I think about it almost every day.
Yeah.
How did my dad pass on his spirituality or his religion to me?
Yeah.
And how do I do it in a way that's not forced?
Right.
How do you do it in a way that you don't push them away? Because you found what you had to find in a club, effectively, right? You found what you had to find during heartache.
Yeah.
And, do you let them hit that sort of trough, or do you let them hit that bottom? How do you impart that? And if you see so many famous people, I think the failures are all internal in the family. So there's gurus, there's people of that sort. You read books, you hear about what they say, and they've been so successful in the external, and now I mean outside the family, but they've found it almost impossible in the internal. And so I would love to hear your kind of thoughts on how do you pass on bhakti to, how do you plan to do it?
It's impossible to pass it on. I don't think it's possible to force. See, like, bhakti isn't something you can even, there's nothing in our power that we can do to achieve bhakti, to achieve. It's a receivership. And so we can prime ourselves. Let me tell you a story. Once there was a guru and a disciple that were in conversation. And the disciple looks at the guru and says, when I chant all of these rounds of japa, when I sing all of these hours of kirtan, will I see God? And the guru looks at the disciple and shakes his head. And the disciple's now really confused. He says, what? Why am I doing this then? Why are you making me do all this? Like, the sadhana is like so long. If there's no guarantee of seeing the Supreme, why am I doing it? The guru responds in the most peculiar and interesting and heartwarming way. The guru replies saying, is there anything you can do to make the sun rise in the morning, my child? Anything I can do to make the sun rise? No. The guru continues. So in the same way, there may be nothing we can do in our power to make the sun rise in the morning, but the one thing we can do is make sure that we're awake when the sun does rise. So in the same way with my children, there's nothing I can do to pass on bhakti. I don't even have bhakti myself. I'm still working that out. But I can give them the tools. And ultimately, the map, I can even try and share with them, but they have to fly their own plane. They have to fly their own plane.
And I think that is, bringing it back, that is kind of how I discern.
Yeah.
Is the guru I am following allowing me to do it on my own?
I agree.
Or is he asking me to do blind faith?
Yeah.
And so
that's why I love my guru so much, because he's let me be as I am. And
so I think that I have found,
I agree,
to be such an, relatively speaking, quick way to figure out where you stand. And the respect that you are afforded as a disciple. So the respect your guru affords you as a disciple is he allowing you to do it in your own way? And so that's kind of a little bit of how I have figured that. Because I think in so many ways, you're right, success. And it's very interesting because a lot of the, this question I had when I was young, a lot of the, I'm Jain, a lot of the Tirthankars in Jainism, but even Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, they're all kings. And, they've all kind of, to our example, lived the life of excess, or they had access to the life of excess. And they kind of chose to give it away. And so I've always found that you need to do a lot of effort to reach a certain level before you can then give up. And so I just, how do you think of
I've got a different take on that. I would say that it's not about giving up. It's the principle is that's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam is yukta vairagya, which means that have everything, but first and foremost, know who is the owner of that.
Yeah.
And two, to use that back in that service. It's like, it's hilarious that we think we own countries, that we put up borders across the world, and this is my country and this is your country. Yeah, but we're still the same species living this planet, and the ultimate owner is far greater than many of us would ever fathom to imagine. And so I think it's, for me, a case of perspective.
It's one of the facts that always blows my mind, is that we're living closer to Cleopatra than the pyramids were.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And that, that is always, whenever I read that, it always kind of helps me put into perspective how insignificant, and it's very significant in the sense that you're living there. So if someone wants to come and take this room, it'll hurt. Someone wants to come and take my house, it will hurt.
Of course.
But in many ways, how kind of insignificant the time that we have is. So you might as well find something useful to do with it.
Yeah. So it's a gift, and it's gifted by someone. Everything we own has been gifted. Like, let's face it, there's so many things that you and I have both got in our lives that had nothing to do with us. Nothing. The things that we value so much that have got nothing to do with our effort and energy and whatnot. And in that regard, we can immediately go, that was because of this person, that was because of this person, my father, my mother, my uncle, my brother, my sister, my wife, my children. And in the same way, with greater perspective, if we look at it like this, my own life was a gift from God. So whatever I do in this world, however Krishna has arranged my life, that whatever I receive, whatever I don't receive, I don't receive, ultimately it's in their hand. There's like this saying that I heard yesterday, that, my Lord, you have gifted us the sun and the moon, and here I am with my little candle offering you light.
And yet, how do you kind of take that and believe in free will, but also take agency of the day, right? So how do you, because I find that hard sometimes, and how do you kind of take agency of the I have to come to a podcast today?
Sure.
It doesn't matter in any scheme of things. So how do you kind of run through that?
Simon Sinek says it best. You probably read the book Start With Why.
I haven't.
So it's a great read. I definitely recommend it. He basically dissects companies and shows the most successful companies always started with intention and the why. Everything comes from why. And once you have that center point, then everything else contextually makes sense. And to make this fun for the viewer, do you remember when you were a child and in a playground, there's that wheel? Yeah. And like, you run, you jump on it, and it goes round and round really fast. Now, when you first do that, you don't really know how it works. So you jump on and you hold on to the outer circle with dear life. It's like a centrifuge almost, that you're going really fast around that circle. And after you fall off the first time and you bump an elbow, you learn to stay in the middle. And in fact, actually, you're not only hurting yourself, you might even fall off and knock out someone else. So the idea is that if you find the center point and you hold on to that center point, that thing can spin damn fast. You just find your center point. You start with why. And so when it comes to agency and free will and how I administer that free will, you have to know what you're doing it for, or who you're doing it for. What's your why? What's your center point? Then come what may. It could be the biggest TV show in the world. It could be the biggest stage in the world. No one could come. One person could come. 10 people, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000. Krishna, you're directing everything. You're my center point. My Lord, the Supreme, who goes by many names, Rumi says.
So what is your why?
It's me, my life. I want it to be, I don't know if it will fully be, but I want it to be an offering to my Lord that says, I tried to love you. And I'm trying to show you I want to be yours. So everything is centered around that point.
And when you started off, when you took the decision to move into Bhakti, was that your why at that time as well?
No, at that time I was just trying to escape the material world.
Why?
Because I found that I was disenchanted with the way the world works. I remember standing in that club with a drink in my hand. Everyone's partying. I looked around at every eyes. I just could see they're running away from something. And I was also running away from something. And I wanted to run away from this. I was like, is this the only way I'm going to find happiness in this world? I looked at it, Jack Daniels and Coke. Is this what's going to bring me happiness? This is what I'm working hard for? So I just told my wife, well, girlfriend at the time, now wife, shout out Davey, I love you. I said, I want to get out of here. She said, we just got here like 10 minutes ago, like finish your drink. So no, I just want to get out of here. So I go back to the apartment and I'm sitting with my head in my hands on the edge of the bed. And she says to me, what's wrong? I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. She said, you're breaking up with me. I said, no, I'm sick of this. I want to do something different. And at that time, I'd already been with the chanting and, hanging out with the monks, but undercover. I didn't want my friends to know. So she said, okay, what do you want to do? I said, I want to share spiritual stuff with people. And initially, it was all about validation and running away and finding a different life from my friends. I just wanted to get away from that and set a flag in the ground and say, I'm doing this. I want to try this. And I think over the last, say, 5 years or so, it's developed to a point where I'm like, okay, Krishna, you're opening doors. But why are you opening these doors? What are you trying to teach me? And I've realized that in the ultimate sense, what I do and how much traction and attention and followers and popularity that will come, that's very much secondary, because I've noticed the fickle nature of it, that people want you when you're up, they don't want you when you're down. And so I have to find that center point. And it's become very clear to me that I can't just keep chasing the numbers, because I won't be fulfilled. And I've noticed that I'm not fulfilled when I chase only for the sake of chasing. But if I find my center point, then I can go for days. I can, next podcast, next arrangement, next meeting, next kirtan, next engagement, no problem, because I know I'm doing it to show my Lord that I love him. Even with my family, even if it's not the podcast and stuff. Yeah. But if it's, okay, you got time with your family now. Okay, I'm going to give my best in this situation, because I want to also exercise love there, so I can learn how to love the Supreme.
And in so many ways,
I went off on a bit of a tangent. I mean,
no, because it's to our earlier point when we're asking people to almost get into something, with a certain level of faith.
Yeah,
I think it's extremely important to be able to open up on your own. It's extremely important to be able to explain, right? Like for me, I can read, I can hear podcasts, but obviously there is a value to meeting someone in person.
Yeah, of course.
And so I've always found that kind of interesting as to how people get to whatever points that they get to, and how that changes every 10 years. And so which was my question, which is that, why did you get into Bhakti in the first place? Because I think sometimes people find, and that was my, it was going to be one of my questions here. We touched upon it before we started a little bit. I think there is an instinct that you have to be austere, or you have to have the perfect intention to meet God.
Sure.
Or to meet divinity.
Sure.
And I just, in my experience, I've just found that, and you can kind of, it's not a matter of fact, it's just a discussion, is that I think the key is, like with so many other things in life, is to just start. And 100%. You will kind of figure out 100%. Your intentions, you will kind of figure out the end goal. So I just wanted to, I was kind of trying to get to how you started. And how it doesn't have to be with
pure intention,
the perfect intention.
I mean, listen, I don't think we start anything with pure intention. Like, I didn't even get into a relationship with pure intentions to serve my wife.
Yeah,
I wanted to be served. I didn't have pure intentions when I had kids.
Yeah,
because I wanted to love something. I didn't start chanting because I had a pure intention to love God from day one. And so I think that you're spot on. Like, just start. Yeah. Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhakti priyachati. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that if you offer me with love and devotion, a simple fruit, a flower, a leaf, or water, just Any of these articles, just start offering something, offer love. And I think that this is the point I'm making about choosing, that you can make a choice immediately that from today, I am going to make a change with my health. And it doesn't mean I need to throw all the chocolate from my house out. You don't have to be all or nothing about it all. But just start. Start.
I found that to be such a powerful thought, just to start.
Your cameraman's like deeply and like, yeah, just start. Yeah.
And so we've kind of done a lot of discussion. We've started this on something I enjoy, which is spiritual. But obviously there's a sect of people that will be listening to this thinking these two guys are just going on about.
They're probably tuned off already.
Yeah. But in case they've made it so far,
well done.
I would love to get into some of the practical aspects.
Okay.
Of the power of sound, of the power of vibration, of the power of community.
Yeah.
So let me phrase that question slightly differently. Do I need to understand the words of what I'm chanting? Or does it just help that I am chanting?
I think it's a yes and no answer. It's a nuanced answer. If someone came across the sound of the name of divinity, it's described that that sound vibration is pure, completely pure. So if one comes across that sound vibration, even not knowing what it means, they will still receive benefit. You know, in the West, where most of my service happens, there are people that come from the yoga circle, people from the corporate sphere, CEOs, all the way down to those that work at Costa Coffee, Starbucks, etc., baristas. Every walk of life, dustbin men. Everyone. Now, their first experience typically is one of just a little bit of confusion, a little desire to find something, and maybe even a consideration of wanting to find a community. They come for so many various different reasons. So whether they understand it or not, they're still getting something. But I think it always does make a difference when you do understand it. And that's why, like, whenever I'm chanting, I try to frame the experience with a little anecdote or a little story or a little something that gives them something to work with here. Because they don't have an understanding in the West, especially people that have not been brought up or even read anything about it. They don't really understand who is Krishna, what is Ram, what is Om, how does this relate to it's a foreign language, it's a foreign culture in one sense. So those little frameworks, I think, help to give people the understanding of what this is and what I'm trying to do here.
Like I said, I've been brought up on a more silence-based, austere.
That's really cool.
It shouldn't necessarily be fun. No one's told me that. It's just, that's, as I kind of did research on this, and as I kind of got into Bhakti and, Aarti and things like that. I always found it difficult to kind of correlate.
Sure, I understand.
Why should I be dancing? This seems silly, for lack of a better word.
I got it.
And by the way, I have the same instinct when I started learning some games, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a thing, and then you get into the thing. But how would you kind of deal with the enjoyment of Bhakti?
Yeah.
Should you enjoy it?
So I was in a room full of the biggest CEOs, billionaires, millionaires, you call it what it is. And I was thinking, how in God's name, quite literally, am I going to get these people to really be absorbed in this experience? And I was curious, will they dance? Will they chant and dance? And I set up, or rather shared a story which I'd like to share with you.
Yeah.
There was once a person called Gopal Patel.
Okay.
Gopal Patel. He was middle-aged, not yet married, but very devoted. And his bhakti and his devotion was so pure and innocent that Narada Muni, the great celestial, he looked at him and said, wow, this is really a great devotee. So he goes to Krishna and he says, Krishna, you have one devotee. He lives on earth. His name is Gopal Patel. he's really something. Why do you make it so hard for him? Krishna replies and says, okay, just go. I'm not making it hard. Just go and tell him Krishna's calling. And tell him like now, like I want him back in my embrace. So Narad Muni goes down and he sees Gopal and he says, Gopal, Narad Muni, to what do I owe this great fortune? Nothing on my part, but you're being called right now. Krishna's calling. Come. He's like, right now? Yeah, Krishna's calling right now. Let's go. You know, Narad Muni, I kind of want to get married and have kids, and my business is going well right now. So can you do me a favor? Can you just come back in 15 years' time? Just 15 years. That's all I need. And I'm ready 15 years from now. Narad Muni says, are you sure Krishna's calling right now? So yeah, 15 years. To the time, just come back. So Narad Muni goes, 15 years to the day, right on time. He's nothing if not timely. Narad Muni appears again and he sees Gopal Patel. Now his hair is receding. He's now got only this part remaining. His kids are older. He's had a family. His wife is also well maintained. Nice, beautiful house. Narad Muni comes again and says, Gopal, I'm back. Narad Muni, so good to see you. It's been 15 years. Krishna's calling. Let's go. Gopal, Mr. Patel, let's go. He says, yeah, yeah. The kids just got into university and I want to get into gardening. I want to learn how to make stone-baked pizza. I want to enjoy a little, like my fruits. I've worked so hard. You see my hair's gone. I've got like grays everywhere. You know. Tell you what. 5 years. Just 5 more years. And then you come. Yeah, 5? Narad Muni said, okay, fine, 5 years. But are you sure Krishna's calling? Yeah, 5 years. Okay. Off he goes. 5 years later, to the day, he's back. He knocks on the door of the house of Gopal. Gopal, Krishna's calling. Time to go. Come on. The door slowly opens. And there is his wife, dressed in white, widowed, weeping in sorrow. Gopal is no more. No more? Narad Muni says. Yeah, he passed a year ago, says his widowed wife. What? Where will he be? She closes the door. Narad Muni standing there in confusion. Where has he gone? What's happened? All of a sudden, a stray dog comes running past. Woof, woof. I'm Gopal. Ah, Gopal, so good to see you. All right, time to go. Krishna's calling. Come, let's go now. Narad Muni, if I go now, who will guard the house? I have to stay. This is the situation of our lives, that we initially find this joy and this beautiful expression of wanting to love God without any holds barred. But as we get older, everything becomes a little, how to say, serious. And we want to hold ourselves back. We want to be composed. And I think that the symptom of happiness is singing and dancing. We did it when we were young. We didn't need to drink to do it. We would sing and dance and be happy in this world. And as we've gotten older, we've cared so much what people think about us. And I think that pure, simple joy of singing and dancing for God, that people want to do, they just don't want to look like a fool.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to frame for people, that your deepest heart's desire is to be madly in love. And when you're in love, isn't it that you see your beloved in everything? You want to smile, you want to be joyous, you want to dance without any substances in your body, you want to be deeply, madly in love. But you don't want others to consider that you've lost it. And I think that's the issue of today. The issue of today is that people are so concerned about what people think of them. And ultimately, I think that people need to understand that people aren't really caring about you that much. Like I said, in the first 20 years of your life, you care so damn much what people think about you. In the second 20 years of your life, I don't care what you think. And in the last years of your life, you realize no one was thinking about you anyway. No one was thinking about you. No one cares. The most famous people of this world, when they die, you mourn them for 1 week. And then in their history books, their picture will be hanging on a frame and they're gone, finished. Your time is done, it's my time now. And I think this is the point that we need to see with the context of greater perspective, that if you want to sing and dance, go and do it. Do it with higher purpose. Do it in love for the Supreme. And that's what really connected me. Like when I was younger and I saw that spirituality was quite a morose and quite a serious thing, that didn't attract me. But what did attract me was dancing in the clubs. What did attract me was dancing with my friends. And when I found that there was a way of me doing that in a spiritual sense, I was like, game on, this is me. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And I think that's what's attracting the masses to come for Kirtan. Because if I try and force any of these guys to sit in silence and meditation, it'll be hard. It's not impossible, but you're a rare person. Because you can hold and control that.
I'm not saying that I'm good at it, but
no,
it's just...
but you found something there. But the mass public, they want Bollywood. They want dance. They want entertainment. They want to be thrilled. They want their endorphins to feel on edge. And so that's why I think Kirtan has such a beautiful pull.
And how do you ensure that that doesn't
become
purely an endorphin generation mechanism?
Yeah.
Right? How do you kind of... And obviously, you know, not everything is the responsibility of the teacher.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
But
it's a valid question.
Yeah. How do you kind of rein that in?
Well, I would say by trying to repeat the essence as often as I can, by framing the experience and by not trying it. See, like what you get on Instagram, people like to just see that 1 minute clip. But like this conversation, if someone's really serious about it, they're going to find it.
Yeah.
And they're going to find out that actually, yeah, there's way more to this than just the dance and clap and sing and dance. But initially, what they'll need is that.
So could you walk us through some of the interesting experiences that people should expect beyond the Instagram, beyond the first visit?
An exploration of true self.
Okay.
Who am I beyond this body? Who am I beyond this mind that thinks all these thoughts? Who is the soul? What is the soul? So that's number one. Who am I? Number two is who or what is God? Who is the Supreme? What is the Supreme? Where is the Supreme? Do they love me really? That's number two. And the third is, how can I engage with my true self and the Supreme in a way that helps me to remain connected to those two truths? And that is Bhakti. That's pure Bhakti. That's loving devotional service.
And kind of you've had that one moment of clarity in a club.
That was one moment of clarity.
Yeah. As you've done this for a few years now, and as you've done this for other people,
trying.
As we've discussed this, as we think about this, could you think of some more interesting moments? Because I think people love moments. I think moments.
It's endearing.
It's endearing, but it also kind of humanizes.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's, I think we've all had that moment you fall in love, or the moment you realize you re-fell in love, or the moment you realize your idea was great. Whatever it is that you were doing, could you kind of go over your 10, 15 years of, did you fall out of love with at any point? Did you get frustrated at any point? How did you kind of keep connected? Did you find yourself laughing at yourself? Kind of how did that doubt creep in and out?
As you were speaking, my life was flashing before my eyes. Yeah. My first ever experience of sharing, I'm trying to think of something new, some new content for you.
Yeah, sure. No,
so the first ever time I shared Kirtan was in a place in Shoreditch, a yoga studio in Shoreditch, and it had been advertised and whatnot. And I was very excited. I brought a band with me, 4 other friends. I promised, I couldn't pay them. I didn't have any money to pay them, but I said, look, I promise you I'll get you a burger, a vegan burger from Shoreditch Box Park. There's a really nice, cool box park in Shoreditch that I highly recommend. It's great vegan food in there. So I said, look, I'll buy you a burger at the end of the night. Just come and support me. So off we went, set up the room, cushions everywhere. We set up the sound system. Everything's ready to go. Plug in, switch on. I'm sat there ready, 7 o'clock hits, empty room. Okay, do it 5 minutes. See, like Mumbai time is everything's half an hour late. London time is London time. You're on time. So 7:15, 7:20, 7:30. One lady opens the door, pops her head in, and slowly tries to get out the room.
Yeah.
I said, no, come. Look, we're just starting. We just finished setting up. Come, sit. So she comes and she sits down. And so there I go. Harmonium ready. Om. We start chanting. Halfway through, I open one of my eyes just to have a peek, and she's lying on the ground. She's fallen asleep. All right, let's kick it into gear. So, okay, go. It's all pumping. We're starting to go. And I close my eyes. And then about 10 minutes later, I open my eyes, gone. And in that moment, I had a choice. Do I remain a performer, or do I try to go for the essence? And in that moment, I decided that the only audience that I need and I want is God. And so we continued the full set for 2 hours, 4 of us at the front and an empty room. And that for me was a real important point. Since that moment, I've never ever seen an audience and gone, only 100, only 10, only 500, only 10,000, only 20,000, whatever Krishna sends, I want him to be my only audience. And so that was a real moment for me, a real teachable moment, that it was only between you and your God.
Then therefore it is kind of in many ways similar to a lot of other artists.
Mm-hmm.
And so while you kind of pull that up, what do you consider yourself? Because when you introduced Caleb as well, you said he reps one of the largest kind of in Australia, one of the largest music. So what do you consider yourself?
Who is Radhika Das? My Insta bio says I'm a Kirtan artist.
Sure.
The label I like to place myself as is Gopi Brittuka Malayur Dahasta Asanu Dahasta. Beyond all these roles, I'm trying to become one who serves those who serve.
Mm-hmm.
The servant of the Supreme.
But is it via music? Is that your core?
Yeah, I think so.
Service?
You can't force me not to sing. Unless God takes away my voice and my ears, then I'm singing even in the cab on the way here. Uh-huh. I'm singing in between takes in a podcast. It's in my blood, so to say.
Okay.
So
poem.
All right, here we go. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Mother Teresa. People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best that you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. For you see, in the end, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. And so regardless of how many people come to spectate, to partake, to dissect, criticize, judge, I think for me, it's only between me and my God. And I want to try and maintain that or exercise that consciousness more and more, because I go astray as well and I get lost all the time. Mm-hmm. But it's between me and my God.
When you do get lost, where are we going?
When I get lost, I have a short temper. Uh-huh. And so I sometimes get angry. I sometimes have poor lack of judgment when it comes to trusting people. I'm a very trusting person by nature. And so I get lost there, trusting the wrong people. I get lost in my own ego, thinking I'm someone. I get lost in Good food. Mumbai is like one of my favorite places in the world.
Yeah, we have some pretty
Pretty good places.
Pretty good food. It's funny because for a lot of us, right, those are both character flaws and what makes you human.
That's it.
And when you kind of go through the process of spirituality that you're attempting, both for yourself and everybody that follows you, I think it's important to know that we all have these kind of challenges.
Anyone that says that doesn't, that's a big trigger for me. I'm like, this person is not being truthful.
So I generally try not to care about too many things. That's the philosophy that I've been brought up in. That's my aim, right? When I spoke to my dad, one of the differences, I used to ask him growing up, saying, guys are saying Hindu and Jain and Buddhist, and it all seems the same. What's the debate about? And he said, no, it's just kind of what we discussed, how you get to the water. And he said, in chanting, and he used other words, but he said the idea is to fall in love with the deity.
Wonderful.
To then therefore have nothing except that.
Wow.
And he said in Jainism, it is to start with nothing and therefore end with nothing.
Beautiful.
And so there's different kind of ways to get to that. But when I do wake up at 1:30 to watch a game in the Champions League that United is playing, which they haven't played in a while.
Who just fought?
United.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so the humanity comes back very quickly. If you follow the
Caleb, you heard it here. He's a Liverpool supporter.
I heard, so he's been good. But so your humanity comes back in odd places.
Yeah.
Right. Like I've kind of trained myself to accept a business loss, which actually calms me far more.
Yeah.
A lot better than just a really crappy 3-5-2 formation.
Right.
So kind of coming back to how you center yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like I know my kids help me a lot.
Right.
Right. I kind of come to work and I see the amount of people that work in the organization, and that helps me a lot. Kind of create goals that are actually matter. How did you come back to Krishna?
While you were speaking, something really came to mind. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is a saint in the lineage from which I come from, he shares that when everything else is not working, when the chanting's not working, when the books don't seem to be speaking to you anymore, when the holy places just feel like touristic sites, run into the association of saintly people. And that's always been an anchor for me that's worked. Like, I don't think there's been a time in my life where it's not worked. So if I'm feeling really particularly like lost, then my number one recommendation or my personal approach is I just go and find out where I'm going to get nourishment from people that I really feel know and go and show the way. And so, I mean, even part of this tour that I'm on right now, where I'm doing PR for my 10-city India tour in November, I've made it a point to go to the temple, to go and seek out saints and just hear, like, even if I can hear just one sentence from them, that it'll change my consciousness, it'll completely shift things in my mind. And so in the same way that it's for many people, their family, even for me, it's my kids. Like tomorrow I fly back to London and I'm back with my kids, and then I don't have to be Radhika Das, international, this, that, the other. I can just be Papa.
And they won't let you.
Yeah.
So if you try that.
They'll kick me and, push me. And my daughter's got this funny thing. She just got a play kitchen. So she's 2 and she picks up these plastic toasts. Puts it on a plastic plate. Says, Papa, breakfast. And there I am like, what?
By the way, that is the single best value for money toy I have ever had for my kids. My daughter got one when she was 2. She got it gifted.
Let's hear it.
And play kitchen. And my son's obsessed with it. He's 3. Pretty much every kid who comes home for a play date,
play kitchen.
The value of that play kitchen,
really,
on a number of years basis, at least for my household, has been
it's true actually, because all the other toys they just put to one side, isn't it?
I don't know why, I don't know how, and it's it's in my house, it's the boy, it's the girl. My girl's 8, my boy's 3. It's the boy, it's the girl, it's a bunch of other people that come in. I did take umbrage to one thing you said, so I'm going to take this time to just set the record straight. Vanilla ice cream just significantly
Oh,
better than
come on,
chocolate.
mate.
So our play kitchen has a little ice cream stand.
Yeah. What flavor is your favorite?
Attached to it? I make ice cream.
Oh, from scratch?
Yeah.
Do you have a maker though?
Yeah.
All right.
Went to Italy, found a professional, because I eat that much ice cream.
Any brand that you recommend? Ice cream maker?
I will kind of give you offline the name. But so what happened is, again, which is complete side. So I used to eat so much ice cream. My mom felt it was unhealthy if she didn't start making it on her own. So we started. That's
great.
Yeah, that's how we started eating ice cream.
Do you have like a culture for ice cream in Mumbai?
If not, I'll start it. No, but I think that one of the
I'm surprised.
One of the positive, negative things of living here, of being Indian actually, wherever you're living,
yeah,
is our sort of palette of sweets is insane.
Because it's diabetically worth it.
Yeah, it's completely insane because we get to have the Japanese chocolates, but we get to have the sweets from Calcutta, and we get to have sort of the ice cream from gelato from Italy. So the one of the kind of negative or positive things is that, you know, pretty much any sweet anywhere in the world, we figured out how to taste it.
Yeah, I'm on a diet right now, and I'm strictly not eating refined sugars. But I went to Italy. I was in Florence, and we went on holiday with the kids. And I kid you not, I hit like 2 or 3 of those a day. It was insane.
So when I do cities, and I kind of do stuff sometimes without the kids and for work or and we have a group of 4 friends. We do every 4 years we do the World Cup. We live in different different countries. So we meet at a
where's
World
the next
Cup.
one in the States, no?
The States, yeah.
You're gonna go?
Yeah, if I get tickets. The state ones is really expensive.
Can we be friends, please?
Yeah. So we try to find. So we went to Qatar, and we've done, and we do the Euro. So we did Germany.
Whoa. The full.
No, just 2 games, 3 games, just any 2 games, just for 3 days, 4 days. Find 4 days in that month. 4 of us live in different cities, so we kind of meet. But the way I do the cities is I find the top 7 or 8 rated gelato places, and I just walk there.
The next time I see you, I got to remember.
Yeah.
Come with ice cream.
When I come to London, or when you come here, because the thing is, one of the negatives of Bombay is we don't get to walk.
This is a big thing. This is a big thing.
And so, and there's, again, and this is coming back to, and I was going to tell you, like when you read the poem, a lot of my centering is in solitude. So like I will write. I'll write poetry if I am feeling down or if I need to kind of vent. And I love walking on my own, and the treadmill just doesn't have the impact of walking through a city.
No.
Because to me, walking alone gives you a sense of detachment.
Yeah.
And you can kind of, it centers me again, kind of what we were discussing, because you kind of see there's thousands of lives and they all have thoughts and they all have lives and meanings and love and stuff they've lost. And so I'm able to figure out how insignificant I am through a walk alone through a city. Beautiful. So I enjoy that. In any case, so the way I plan my walks
ice cream
is
shops.
Through interesting gelato places. Because I don't
Please
eat
let me know when you... Yeah, me neither.
So gelato is kind of... Ice cream is a little more dicey.
That's why this place in Italy... Yeah. I'll recommend it. I'll send you the place.
Anyway, so
we'll put it in the comment section for anyone else that wants to visit.
Yeah. And if anybody is in Bombay and they want to come home to eat ice cream, please feel free.
I mean, I'm here till tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll get you some. Actually, like I said, we'll figure that out. I've actually heard you say that, you know, you're not happy with false renunciation.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be.
And I kind of want to get into that thought process because I think that ties into what you're wearing.
Yeah.
And it ties into a lot of the debates that a lot of us have in terms of, should a guru wear a patek? Or should someone who is religious be able to fly business class?
Yeah.
Or be able to fly at all?
Yeah.
And again, because I'm Jain, and the Jain scriptures are incredibly strict in terms of what the monks can do. And so we have that debate at home. But I would love your take on how that would kind of...
The way I put it is this. A knife in the hand of a surgeon or a knife in the hand of a thief. The knife remains the same. In the same way, material energy in and of itself isn't wrong. It's not bad. Money in and of itself is not bad. Lakshmi is not bad. But Lakshmi, when paired with Narayan, is complete. And so in that regard, I mean, what I mean to say is, whatever you have, whatever your taste is, high taste, low taste, this taste, that taste, ice cream, this, whatever it is, just a little, how to say, connection with the divine, with the spiritual when it comes to that, it makes a big conscious decision, conscious change, consciousness change is what I mean to say. Like, if you're going to fly business for a higher purpose, and you know it's going to help you in your service, do it. If you know that for your consciousness, simple living is going to work, which means going on a vipassana, going in silence, taking your phone away, and it's going to work, do it. If you feel like engaging with celebrities is going to help your spiritual service, do it. If you think spending time with ascetics is what's called for, do it. If you feel like dressing is going to change your consciousness, dress in robes. If you feel like it doesn't make a difference to you, dress how you like. So the point is yukta vairagya, which means that whatever it is that you've been gifted, try and put a spiritual lens on it. Otherwise, by falsely renouncing and saying, this is good and this is bad, you're going to find nuanced ways into which you can make the bad look good and the good look bad.
Correct.
So it's a matter of how you utilize it. What is your purpose behind the item?
And
do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a tough one because
what would be your counter?
I don't think I have a counter. I think my debate that I have with myself, and again, I think a lot of this, the way I function is I try to figure out for myself.
Yeah.
Because in many ways I don't care. I just doesn't bother me that someone else is doing it. Because kind
that's
of
refreshing.
What you said at the start, right? Like ultimately you're answerable to yourself.
Yeah. Answerable to God.
And I haven't figured that out for myself. And that's my challenge. And I'll give you a small example. The living in the city, eating out,
big culture,
and the cost of eating out versus then walking out of that restaurant, getting into your car and seeing the amount of people that what that money could have done just from a food standpoint. I haven't figured that, I haven't figured out the correct kind of...
I mean, I'll give you something that I try to do is if I'm going to eat out, I'll make sure it's with people who I can converse about spiritual subject matters with. So then it fulfills both purposes. It fulfills my material desires that I wanted to go and eat at Bougie.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I can talk about Krishna. We can talk about like how to share the message of God far and wide.
But I'm going one step beyond that. I'm just saying the kind of the poverty of the needs of the people you pass by.
Yeah.
How do you ignore?
You don't ignore.
How long can you ignore?
You can't ignore it.
And how do you then juxtapose that with your faith in God? Which is that because karma is weird, because karma lets you justify someone else's suffering very easily, because you can just come back and say, look, they did whatever they had to do.
But there's a lesson in that also. That's a very, very, very stereotypical mentality that is their karma.
Correct.
My issue with that is that then is it not your karma that you can't see with the eyes of compassion?
Or you can't help.
Yeah.
And so, to your point, my issues with the upgrade in lifestyle have always to do with why are you doing it? Like kind of like what you mentioned. So I don't disagree at all. And so do you need it? And what happens is, and I'd love to get your feedback or sort of your thoughts on.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us have two identities.
Sure.
And I think you've managed in many ways to merge. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or
everyone's got their own opinion on it.
Yeah. But kind of we have, and a lot of businessmen in India, and you've
somehow
I don't know if we have the approval or not, but you've kind of been with the group yesterday.
Yeah.
That we're very good, and we have to become very good because we're very spiritual in nature at kind of bifurcating the business from the spiritual.
Yeah.
And that's bad.
Yeah.
But sometimes people think making the spiritual your business, that's bad as well.
Sure.
And so how do you kind of figure those things? So how do you kind of navigate that?
There's so many things I could say on this. Well, Well, first and foremost, this analogy that you gave on eating at a restaurant and then being harsh on those who are not able to afford it. I will make sure in my own consciousness, I try my best to acknowledge every single person that I meet at the same level. They're human beings, they're children of God.
Yeah.
So it hurts me that slave mentality prevails in many cultures of this world. I'm higher than you, servant culture. Ultimately, we're all servants of the same Supreme. And that Supreme doesn't look at our bank accounts, doesn't look at how much status and wealth we have, how much power and how much influence. That Supreme looks at devotion and sincerity. So I think that for every person that claims to be a spiritual religious person, and if you're wealthy and popular doing it, please try to remember that it's every soul should be loved in the same regard. This is a big thing for me. Like, if I was to, I don't know if I can go down this route.
We can avoid names. It's not a...
No, I would say, as someone who's a Indian foreign national, I hold an OCI. I'm Indian by body. I eat Indian food.
Yeah.
But for someone who's walking into this culture from the outside in, my observation is that we need to somehow change this mentality of higher and lower. Like, I'm higher, you're lower, know your place. Because ultimately we need to see, and it happens everywhere, even in the West, like even in the corporate structures of the West, it happens. But I think this culture of seeing others with the eyes of, ultimately, yes, I have to maintain a position with them because, you know, structure of employment, whatever, but still treating them as children of God. There is nothing to be, it doesn't cost anything to be kind. So that's on that point. And then when it comes to the nuance of, you know, each person figuring out for themselves what level of attachment to the material energy and how they, you know, do you fly business and do you, what's more spiritual. I think I have to go back to that point, which is, it's between you and your God. If it genuinely feels like you're more loving towards God by living a simple lifestyle, by all means do it. And if you feel that you can handle, it's not safe always to handle trying to navigate the material energy. But if you feel like you can handle it, then there's no harm in it. There's genuinely no harm.
And kind of as we come back to kind of the reason we're here, which is the Bhakti.
Yeah.
Could you walk us through a little bit of some of the lines, some of the songs, some of the beauty in the language that attracted you to Bhakti and that has kept you coming back?
Yeah, the beauty is the whole reason why I'm, in one sense, practicing, because see, for me, it's not that I love Krishna because he's God. I love God because he's Krishna. And the sweetness of play and the sweetness of the way in which Krishna interacts with his devotees. Mother Yashoda, who catches Krishna stealing butter hanging from a swing, taking him out into the garden and trying to tie him up to the grinding mortar. Damodar is the name of that Krishna. Dam means belly and Udar means to bind. Damodar. She's trying to bind him up, and the rope is always 2 fingers too short. Goes and gets more rope. 2 fingers too short. Goes and gets more rope. 2 fingers too short. Calls her friends. 2 fingers too short. And Krishna, seeing the pearl-like droplets of perspiration on the forehead of Mother Yashoda, feels completely captured that here is my devotee trying to capture me. And with that endeavor, his sweetness comes alive again and again, allows her to bind him. Oh Krishna, may those ropes of love become present in my life such that I can bind you in my heart forever. May that sweetness continue to emanate and pervade my entire consciousness such that it manifests in love for other human beings, such that I can see you in every activity, that I can feel you in every interaction, in every room, in every environment. That sweetness is what keeps bhakti alive. It's what keeps love alive. Love without sweetness cannot exist. love is in and of itself sweet. And so, yes, everything about bhakti is madhur, madhur, su, soiree, madhur, sweet, 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 sweet.
On that note, I just want to say thank you so much
Thank you.
for giving us your time,
I'm grateful.
for taking the time here and just kind of helping us go through this process.
Oh, this has been the most intellectually stimulating and wholesome conversation, because you really are. I really have to commend you as a podcast host. This was a great conversation.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful.
And hopefully
very
we get to
grateful,
do this
very
again when you're back next time.